Welcome back, New Mutator here, and I'm going to be casting the second game of the Winter Series 2013 Finals. It is the match between Dantski and Giant Killer General. And Donski's team got off to a early lead, winning the first game. They're actually looking pretty okay at this point, as this is a pretty imposing team to be up against. I mean, not only do they have a full team, they have Giant Killer General, Adrenaline, Evil Jake, Dak, Paladise, Mercrodon, and Punk User. Pretty imposing team, but they also have a couple of imposing observers just, joined on their team here, Eastwind and Paris. So that makes them even extra terrifying. So Dantski doing pretty okay, holding their own so far. They've got Dantski captaining, who's trying to make it rainbow here in game number 2. Master Chief is on the team. Kruniak is here as well. Kruniak will probably be central to the strategy of Dantski, I'm assuming, and Browning as well, since these two players were teammates of Giant Killer General and Eastwind and Paris, for that matter, in the Myth World Cup 2012. So last year, the Mega Myth tournament, they were all teammates. So they're actually pretty good players. Honky's on the team as well. K-Size and Milkman are here. So that's going to round out the team for Dantski. It's going to be really interesting to see. I'm curious to see if Dantski's team has the staying power that it looks like Giant Killer General GKG's team has. So yeah, I'm curious to see if they're able to hang on or not. Yeah, it looks like Kruniak, Dantski is going to give those Tro to Kruniak, which is probably a wise choice. I mean, I probably would have done the same. I know Kruniak likes using Tro, so, um, you know, I think that's kind of the logical choice, is to give him the Tro and to split up the remaining units amongst your team and basically let him do his thing, you know? That's what he likes to do. And I'm curious, yes, I would have predicted this as well. Adrenaline getting the Tro for Giant Killer General. And I don't know, is there differences between these trades? It looks like a lot of Soulless here. Going to be used to focus down this Tro and probably fetch as well. So Dak getting this group and Paladise getting this group here. Some looks like some spiders here to protect the Soulless from other Soulless or spiders. And yeah, 3 fetch here going to Evil Jake, and then 4 going to Mercrodon. Punk User getting 2 Warlocks, and Giant Killer General also getting 2 Warlocks. So yeah, 3 fetch going to Browning, and it looks like 3, not 4, going to Dantski himself, and not nearly as many Soulless. This is going to Milkman here, and yeah, I don't see any spiders either. And this is going to Master Chief. So pretty heavy on the melee, I guess, for Dantski's team, and not really on the artillery, which is interesting. Yeah, we see a couple of Warlocks. There's 1 for K-Size, 2 for K-Size, and probably 2 for Honky. Yeah.
Flag captured.
And it's flag rally. Interesting that I can see the the health bars for these pigs. I think they're just wildlife, random wildlife on this map. So flag rally, I guess I can understand the strategy of taking a lot of like Stygian Knights and things like that for Dantski, but I don't know if it's gonna really pan out, since basically there's gonna be this this fight in the middle. Giant Killer General's team able to take this flag in the middle and hold on to it, and I guess that was their strategy, just take this flag and hold on to it, and you can lose all of the flags, but as long as you keep this flag here, you're looking pretty good. So yeah, this map is actually pretty difficult. Okay, here we go. Giant Killer General is going to back off, or actually Adrenaline, I should say, and Dantski's team is going to be able to take this middle flag. So they're actually looking pretty close here, looking pretty okay. But we have to keep in mind that there's a significant Soulless advantage, as well as a fourth fetch, which is the other thing to keep in mind. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. We're going to minimize the map a little bit and try to pay attention to what's happening on the field. Looks like Honky is going to maybe try to move around this middle force here, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything because Evil Jake is here with 3 of these fetch. It's going to be difficult for him to do anything here. What the heck? That was a failed block there. Let's see what else is happening. There's a pretty big rush force here. Kruniak going to try to avoid taking some damage here. Looks like these fetch are going to, Browning is going to maybe press on Mercradon, but I don't know if that's going to really work out too well. Punk User is going to retreat and maybe try to collapse back onto Kruniak, and so Kruniak is going to take a little bit of damage here. But these units here are going to be taken out. I guess they were trying to snipe some of these Solus, but they're basically going to be destroyed at this point. And oh no, Browning's unit's taking a beating. All of a sudden it's looking pretty good for Giant Killer General's team here. They're able to take out a few of these melee units, but there is a fetch advantage at this point. And uh-oh, what am I doing? Made that transparent. That was pretty cool. I'm using the 1.8 beta, by the way. So Mercradon has a significant advantage here. Oh, horrendous block there. That's not looking good for Browning. Browning indeed loses one of those fetch, and all of a sudden there's a 2 fetch advantage. Kruniak is going to fall back. There's just really nothing that can be done at this point. These 2 fetch are done for. They're going to get sniped here by Adrenaline. Let's see if I can make that. No? Okay. Well, I can't make it transparent again. Oh, no, that was terrible. Case size. His Warlock shot didn't really do anything. And indeed, all of those fetch are done, basically, in the north here. These 2 Warlocks are still hanging on, but really, this was a pretty good play here for Giant Killer General, focusing down this force there. The rest of Dantski's team basically able to do whatever they please, but for some reason they're still kind of they're still not doing too great.
Captured.
They have a pretty large force here in the south, but you know, they're still struggling. As it looks like Evil Jake is just, you know, he's hanging on to these flags, and he's able to kite them just a little bit, while Paladise is going to move in and maybe try to do some damage. So this is it, Dantski's fetch. Basically it for Dantski's team at this point. And Honky's going to move in. I think he was able to take this flag. But basically, there's a few more flags they need to take. They need to focus basically on taking flags, and not so much on trying to win the battle at this point, because that is not going to happen. There's almost a 30% differential at this point, so probably going to lose. I would say Dantski's team, as yep, Adrenaline going to move directly onto this flag area. I think that that's not gonna work out. Kruniak, although doing a lot of damage, but he needs to be careful.
Captured.
As there's a lot of Solus focusing him down at this point. Uh-oh, and here it goes. Adrenaline taking the time, or taking the opportunity to basically move in, and yep, is going to basically take the flag. Even though Kruniak was, you know, not too far off, I guess he was far enough away for this flag to go to Giant Killer General. So kind of a, I would say kind of a, I don't know, anticlimactic ending to the game. Although, you know, at this point you knew who was going to win. But that was interesting. You saw that Adrenaline, so these Dax Solus able to scare away Kruniak's Tro momentarily from that fight, and Adrenaline was able to move in, swoop in, and basically kick all of those Stygian Knights, And then when Kruniak re-engaged, he had pretty much nothing left, nothing left on that flag. So a couple of spiders were able to tag that flag, and the win. So Giant Killer General's team able to tie it up here in game number 2. I'd say that everything kind of fell apart in this area for Dantski's team. They were down a fetch. They didn't have as much solace or anything to focus down anything, long range, and their retreat was just doomed. Their retreat didn't work out very well. They pretty much lost everything except for their tro when they tried to cross this bridge. It just didn't really work out for them in this engagement. So we got to see that Giant Killer General's trade actually was a pretty good trade. In that they were able to engage from a couple different directions. I think they had like 3 sides on Dantski, whereas elsewhere they were just able to kite and not really engage. So Dantski's team elsewhere wasn't able to get enough done to really make that worth it for them. As you can see, they still were lacking 2 flags here, flags 7 and 8. And so this flag here, I think they were able to take this flag, flag 9, but they still needed this flag, and I think they still needed this flag, and there was just nothing even remotely close to taking it. So yeah, well done, well played by Giant Killer General's team here in game 2. Let's look at some of these players. Adrenaline, obviously posting high numbers, 14 kills, 4 losses. I'm curious what his losses were, since he did hold on to his tro. Did he have these spiders? No. I'm not sure what his losses would be. Giant Killer General, interestingly enough, didn't have a whole lot. He had defending units, so he still had negative damage somehow. Not quite sure how that happened, but probably some defensive move. And Mercadon actually pulling it out for his team here, 124 damage. It's probably going to be the most in the game. Yeah, that's going to be the most in this game too. Here, 13 kills and 3 losses. He had the 4 fetch, so he had an advantage there going into a fetch battle with anybody. And Mercadon, he's a competent player, so he was able to basically take advantage of having an extra fetch and press that advantage, basically winning the game for his team. He had basically he broke off and he moved into the south at some point. Yeah, we can see him here. He had these fetch here. So yep, he was basically in a position to defend this last remaining flag if he needed to. And other players, yeah, Evil Jake not doing a whole lot. He played a pretty passive game. Paladise, he got positive ratios, but didn't really do a whole lot. I think he had a Solus pack. Dak, I think, also had a Solus pack. He didn't do a whole lot. In terms of kills, he did get more damage, though, than Paladise. And Punk User not really doing a whole lot. And gosh, Eastwind in Paris not doing anything at all. Come on, guys. Make yourselves useful. So Dantski's team, actually Dantski doing pretty okay in terms of kills to deaths ratios. 6 kills to 0 deaths, 47 damage. But only problem was, he wasn't really able to make up for his team elsewhere. I mean, K-Size doing horrifically, horribly, negative 14 damage. To be fair, all he had was that Warlock, but still, doing most of your damage to your own team is not a good sign. Milkman not doing a whole lot either, and Honky not doing anything at all. So between these 3 players, granted they didn't have a whole lot to get stuff done with. They had maybe some melee and maybe some Warlocks, and I don't know. Did they have Solus? I don't really recall. But yeah, they could have done a lot better with what they had, and at least in terms of tagging flags. I know Honky probably tagged this flag here, but he could have pressed elsewhere and maybe forced some units to peel off of this engagement. That would have been probably better for his team. But obviously, I didn't really see everything that happened in the game, so who knows. Master Chief actually didn't get a whole lot of kills. He had a lot of losses, but he actually managed to score high on damage. Although, probably he wanted to get more kills than that. And Kruniak, Didn't really see a whole lot of action either, at least compared with Adrenaline, who, if we remember, had 14 kills, 111 damage. And so Kruniak had 5 kills, 37 damage, 7 losses. Um, you know, not that great considering he had the power units for his team. Browning, though, had a lot of damage, but he was basically doomed. He had the fetch up here in this north area, and he did what he could given the units he had, but it just was not. It was pretty much doomed since he was squaring off with Murkerdon, who had an extra fetch on him. So even though he had pretty high damage, he had 0 survivors because basically all his units were taken out in that rear guard retreat. So 5 kills to 9 losses for him. And yeah, so Giant Killer General's team just outplayed Dantski's team here. 233 damage to 337, so over 100 damage differential there. And they had 36 kills to 26 losses to Dantski's 20 kills, 42 losses. So that's pretty significant. Um, yeah, so it would have been a stretch for Donsky to win this game. I just don't know if they'd be able to do it. And of course, the logical thing was that Adrenaline would have won it for his team. I'm not sure if Kruniak would have been able to take this out, especially with the Solus here in the support role. Basically, the only way Kruniak would have been able to win here is if these Solas all threw their javelins into Adrenaline's back. And I just don't think that would have happened. Okay, that's going to be it for game number 2. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed these videos, and join me in as I get to game number 3 for the Winter Series 2013 Finals. We'll see you in the next game.
Game over.